Since the evening of August 25, Russian forces have been deliberately attacking civilian transport on the Kherson-Mykolaiv highway. The head of the Kherson Regional State Administration, Alexander Prokudin, reported this on Telegram. According to him, since last night, there has been high activity of Russian drones along the M-14 Kherson-Mykolaiv highway. Since yesterday evening, we have been observing high activity of Russian drones along the M-14 Kherson-Mykolaiv highway. The enemy is deliberately attacking civilian transport, he wrote on Telegram. Prokudin called on people not to travel along this route unless absolutely necessary. I also remind you that we promptly report the activity of Russian UAVs on the Radar Kherson Telegram channel. Take care of yourself, he added. Prokudin later noted that traffic restrictions are possible on the M-14 Kherson-Mykolaiv highway. If enemy drones are detected, the road will be closed temporarily. Please take this into account when planning your trips and, if possible, choose another route. Together with the military, we are doing everything possible to stabilize the situation, he wrote. Earlier, media reported that a drone attack on a vehicle on the Kherson region highway was recorded in the stretch between the villages of Klapaya and Chornobaivka. It is recommended to monitor official operational updates and, if possible, choose alternative routes to reduce risks during drone activity on this stretch. If necessary, follow guidance from the responsible services and plan trips taking into account the road conditions to ensure your own safety and the safety of passengers.
Власне, наслідки вчорашньої атаки дронів на цивільне авто. Бачимо, одна машина стоїть, хендайка. Їдемо далі. І ось ще стоять машини, на жаль, які потрапили під атаку дронів. Ще одна навіть горить досі. І там ще одна машина. Тому, друзі, такі справи.
A new scandal has broken out in occupied Donetsk amid protests by local residents, who recorded a video message to Putin and the head of the Russian investigative committee, Bastrykin. People complained about the catastrophic situation with the water supply and blamed the DPR authorities. Not a drop of water has been flowing from the taps for several days in a row. The address was headed by Natalia, a separatist known since 2014 with the call sign She-Wolf. In the video, she directly accused the so-called occupation administration of the DPR of inaction. The scandal was brought to the attention of the ex-account Necromancer. However, the response long in coming. A few hours later, a group of unknown men in civilian clothes arrived at the She-Wolf. Allegedly, there were 7 of them. According to eyewitnesses, she was effectively kidnapped and later transferred to the DPR Ministry of Internal Affairs for a preventative conversation. Moreover, the detention took place without a warrant and was accompanied by pressure, which is a gross violation of even Russian legislation. She was accompanied by journalist Elizaveta Zueva, head of the Moscow NGO Obereg Zizny, who later stated that the intervention of the security forces was unprofessional, but everything went without physical violence. The authorities of the so-called DPR have openly declared that they will not tolerate illegal demonstrations, hiding behind concerns about public order. However, in essence, this means the complete suppression of any form of discontent. Any attempt to complain becomes a pretext for repression. Against the backdrop of years of occupation and the collapse of public utilities, the situation in Donetsk continues to deteriorate. The city has been without water for weeks, including drinking water. Instead of real action, the administration prefers forceful methods and seeks to hide the inconvenient truth from the federal media of the Russian Federation. Earlier, Donetsk residents began to fight for water in conditions of severe shortages. Eyewitnesses report a new problem. Hooligans twist the taps on large plastic barrels, after which you can't even pour water in. It all flows out. The sabotage is taking on mass forms. The published footage shows huge queues for water. This has never happened in Donetsk under Ukraine. Two cargo ships in the Baltic Sea linked to Russia have drawn intense scrutiny from European intelligence agencies, with the ships believed to be used to launch surveillance drones. This was reported by the Finnish publication Yle. The first vessel is the HAV Dolphin, flying the flag of Antigua and Barbuda. Suspicions arose after it left the port of Kaliningrad on April the 23rd, called at Klapaya in Latvia, and then stopped at Kyiv, Germany, on May the 1st, where it remained at anchor for 8 days. Experts noted that the ship was moving towards Kyiv at an unusually low speed and dropped anchor at an unusual point. For a normal cargo flight, such a long stopover looks very suspicious. During the same period, German media reported multiple drone sightings near the German Navy's submarine base in Eckernford. German police inspected the HAV Dolphin, and Dutch law enforcement and customs in Rotterdam later joined in. No illegal materials were found, but the crew was entirely Russian. Investigators do not rule out that it was the HAV Dolphin that became the platform for launching drones. The HAV Dolphin story was not the only one. Just 2 days after the inspections in the Netherlands, a new incident unfolded in the North Sea. The German patrol vessel Potsdam was monitoring the Russian cargo ship Loga near the island of Borkum when 7 drones appeared over the sea. According to Der Spiegel, the drones followed the Russian vessel, then began circling above the patrol ship itself and later disappeared. The picture looks unusual. Loga was in front, followed by a German patrol, and drones were flying over the sea for more than 3 hours. The Potsdam crew was unable to establish the model of the drones or prove that they were launched from a Russian vessel. On May the 28th, Loga arrived at the Belgian port of Zeebrugge, where it was inspected again at the request of German authorities. The inspection did not reveal any suspicious materials, and the interrogation of 11 crew members, all of whom turned out to be Russian citizens, also did not yield any new information. Nevertheless, the incidents involving the HAV Dolphin and the Loga have raised alarm among European intelligence agencies. Despite the lack of direct evidence, the coincidence of strange routes, long stays, and drone activity reinforces suspicions that the Russian vessels may be used as covert platforms for unmanned reconnaissance in the waters. Recall, a new wave of sabotage linked to Russia has been recorded in the UK since 2022. The Kremlin is actively recruiting teenagers and young people through social networks, turning them into perpetrators of arson, explosions, and other dangerous operations, the Milwaukee Independent reports. There have been more than 70 cases of Russian-linked sabotage in the UK since 2022, following the large-scale expulsions of Russian agents from the country in 2018 following the poisoning of Sergei Skripal. Moscow has lost a significant part of its intelligence corps and is now using more flexible methods. The Kremlin actively recruits teenagers and young men through social networks. They are the ones carrying out arson, explosions, and other acts of sabotage. The following are the targets of attacks: warehouses, logistics centers, telecommunication nodes, enterprises providing assistance to Ukraine, The main objective is to cause economic damage, disrupt supplies, and create an atmosphere of vulnerability in the European rear.